The trips tight end flex is one of the best offenses in all of Madden 26, and a lot of people have really slept on this offense this year. They really have not given it a fair look, and I think that this offense actually brings a lot to the table in this year's game. So we're going to be breaking it down here for you. I'm going to be breaking this offense down out of the New Orleans Saints offensive playbook. Now, the reason why is because I believe that the Saints playbook is got the best plethora of other formations that you can combine with this. You have tray open, you have tight Y off trio close, really good formation, off trips nasty, amazing little gimmicky red zone kind of bubblegum type of formation. You have the bunch X nasty, and this does have, I believe, that some of the better plays, the spacing switch play. I'm pretty sure that it has that drive wide corner. Just has a pretty decent Y flat goal line, I believe in here, or I don't know if it has that one, but it has smash return, of course, dig return, drive wide corner, mesh spot. So anyway, it just has a decent bunch X nasty, but it also has this doubles flex WAF close, which is amazing formation. It's a very good formation in this year's game. And so anyway, I just think that this gives you the best combination of other stuff. You could also look at Colts. Colts playbook is really good as well with this one. And Eagles playbook is still pretty decent. It has trip side in and trip side in flex, which is pretty unique. But anyway, trip side in flex, great formation. Let's talk about my audibles and what I'm looking for in my coach adjustments. One of the things you need to make sure is that you have your auto pass protection set to something. Okay, you either want one of really two. You either want empty or you want base protection. Either one of these are going to be fine. Don't really want any of these other ones because they're not really a balanced protection. What's nice about empty and base is they're balanced protections, and then let's say you're playing a specific type of blitz, you can adjust the protection in real time. But this way, you kind of come out, you know exactly what to expect from your pass protection. And I believe that the best pass protection in the game for the majority of the ways that people are playing defense is going to be the empty pass protection. Now, that being said, the trip side and flex is really centered around this play motion wide post. It's a play you kind of want to be coming out in every single play. It's a play that, really the majority of this scheme is really built around, but there are some cool things that we can do in our audibles to give us some plays situationally that we would want to go to. So the plays that I like to use in trip side and flex are the RPO zone alert Omaha. This is by far and away one of the better RPOs in the game. It's really unique. We actually have a full video in this little breakdown here that is going to go deep into what makes this thing good. But this thing gives you a ton of use cases. Verticals is an amazing. This specific type of verticals is actually a really good way to run verticals in this year's game, to be able to beat cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. PA shot crossers, a lot of one play touchdown bomb type of plays. Within this, you also get play action blocking, which is a little bit better than your standard pass protection, so you can kind of freestyle a little bit out of this. Now, if you wanted to change this motion wide post because you're planning to come out in it every single time, I would honestly just put like an outside zone or another run. I don't think that you necessarily need some of these other plays in here. Halfback angle is cool. Level sail is cool. Y out and up is cool because you get a short corner. But ultimately, I think that the best plays are what I just showed you. So I'm just going to put a basic outside zone here just in case, we ever get a good look for it. And then I'm going to be coming out in motion wide post pretty much every single play. Now, a big rule of thumb for this offense is you want to run this offense with your trips to the wide side of the field. Your trips to the wide side of the field. So as you see here, if I'm on the right hash, I can run the offense basically as I normally would. However, if the ball was on this hash, then what you're going to see is my receivers are too compressed here to the inside. So what I would want to do is flip my formation in the play call screen to be able to make sure that my spacing is proper. I want those trips to the wide side of the field. Now, let's say that you happen to, let's say the kick goes on a bounce or you fair catch it or whatever, and you're in the middle of the field. How do you get out of the middle of the field? Well, you could run most of these plays from the middle of the field, but bombs, it will change a little bit. But really the best way to do it is just run the ball, right? Just pound the rock, go to your outside zone, get to a hash mark. I think the outside zone gets really good blocking. And then you also have this extremely, extremely glitchy RPO that you can use to be able to get to a hash mark. Being on a hash is just going to make passing more consistent as a whole. Now, if you're looking to take your game to the next level and win more games in Madden or college football, join our school community today for just $10. You're going to get access to our full offensive and defensive ebooks that will help you win more games. So if you're looking to get better at either Madden or college football, become a school member today for just $10. Get you access to everything that I know about both games. If you want to sign up for that, that link is in the description below. For this setup of the play motion wide post, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to simply take this inside trips receiver and we're going to slant him, and that's going to be basically it. What we're going to have here is what I love about this play, just a great simple read that beats every single coverage. It's going to be great against man. It's going to be great against zone coverage. Your first read here is really this kind of flat route to the right. Then you're going to go to the slant, and then you got the post and return route, kind of high-low combination there with that streak clearing out for the post. So first read, always going to be the speed flat route. It's a really, really good flat. We want to take advantage of that flat route because it is one of the better flat routes in the entire game. Now, if you ever get like a man-to-man look, there are different types of man coverage looks, but in general, you know, it's going to basically be something like this. And so if you get a man coverage look, a lot of times this running back can actually beat the man coverage on the cut. You can get outside of that man coverage and be able to get some separation. So that's another reason why I love this play, because it gives you answers against pretty much every coverage in the game. So what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to hard flat. So the beauty of this is they have to hard flat to stop the flat route, but the hard flat is going to make them vulnerable to the slant route that's going to get open in this little pocket between the deep zone and that flat zone. So really it's a difficult play to cover on that right side properly, because, you know, you basically, you know, if you have a curl flat or a deeper, like a cloud flat or something like that, then your little running back flat route is going to get open. You also can get that slant route open kind of in that little pocket if they're not shading underneath in their yellow zones. So if their yellow zones are kind of on their default depth, they're not going to get low enough to defend the slant. The other thing about this is once you see that the slant gets covered, then you're going to easily progress up to your post route. This post route is an amazing route. It's one of the best routes in the entire game. It literally breaks down every single coverage in the game. There's not really a great zone in the game that can cover this play from start to end. It's probably one of the most powerful routes, I would say, in this game. As you see right there, it's a man-to-man killer. This route destroys man coverage. And it doesn't really matter if it's 2-man under, if it's cover 0, like it doesn't really matter what type of man coverage they're trying to run. You are going to be able to just attack it really easily with this route. It's just such a good backbreaker type of route in this game. And it just does a really, really good job of attacking that. So what you're typically going to get here is you're going to get some type of, you know, they're going to basically user it. Now, they could use it one of two ways. They could either switch stick to the top safety, or they could just use it with that linebacker. Either way, really, you're typically going to have one of these throws late. You're either going to have that slant route late if they're hard flatting over there on the right side, or let's say they switch stick to the safety. Then typically what's going to happen is if they switch stick to the safety or if they man up with their user, it depends a little bit on how many people they're blitzing, but if they do either one of those things, typically what's going to happen here is your return route. You see how your return route gets open in two specific windows, okay? So the first window that return route gets open is against really any standard cover 4 coverage. You can actually throw this return route right in between the flat and the yellow zone. So as you're looking at that post, you can kind of see that return route open up in that little pocket, and you could hit it there. The other window for the return route, however, is going to be basically late over the middle of the field. It's going to kind of be like a drag route. So you'll see your slant, and then you're going to be patient here, wait on this return route. It gets open right in that little alleyway right there. And then the last little window for this return route is that you could also playmaker this route late in the play. So you're going to go through your progression. You see it's coming over the middle, left trigger, right trigger up. He's going to just playmaker him basically straight up. If you have the quarterback playmaker ability or master tack or whatever, that's going to make that playmaker 1,000 times better. But this play just truthfully has so many answers against so many different coverages. It's what makes it truly lethal. Now, what about like a cover 2? So there are other ways to attack cover 2. But one of the easiest things, you get cover 2, man, you just take that quick table route. That table route is so good. You break one tackle, it could be a massive play for you. I always like to just suggest, you know, take the table route if it's there. That being said, if it is a true cover 2, notice that cloud flat will cover that post route late in the play. So what you want to do here is you want to throw it before he gets to the cloud. So the best place to kind of throw this is kind of right over the top of that hook. So you can also stem this tight end route, so it's stemmable, so you could go up one, it'll make it a little deeper and just kind of get it a little bit deeper in the defense. But in general, this play just breaks down coverage very, very well. You have answers against every single coverage. You could run this play 30 times a game, and it would probably be successful for you every single time. For this setup of the play motion Y post, we are going to streak our tight end. We're going to drag our slot or middle trips receiver here, and then we're going to put our outside trips receiver on basically a deep in route. So we're going to put him on an in route, and then we're going to stem him up probably 3 times, 2 to 3 times, a little bit deeper of an in route here. And so you see this is kind of what the play is going to look like. Now the reason that we're going to be calling this play and the primary purpose of this play is really to attack the cover 2. If your opponent is running a lot of cover 2, specifically on the tight end side of the formation, this is a really, really great play to call because it gives you a great answer against it. What you're going to see here is this little speed motion going to come across. Now it's on the short side. And essentially, once it kind of clears that flat defender, it's going to be a nice hit against cover 2. And you're going to be able to break down cover 2 really, really easily. Now, the best way really for them to counter this in terms of their coverage, cover 3 cloud is something you could potentially see. So if you are getting any kind of like cover 3 cloud, let me actually set that up here real quick. If I set up like a cover 3 cloud type of look, a lot of times what'll happen is there's still a little window that you can actually hit this on, and I'll show you that. But there's also the fact that your tight end is going to be a little bit more open late in the play as well. So the first read here, I just want to kind of show you how this route runs. You're going to see here, though, you're still getting a nice route, as you see right there, kind of in a nice little pocket. There is a little window to hit it, but it is a little tighter of a window. If they're outside 30 and cloud flatting like that does make it a little bit more difficult. So what you're wanting to look for here, and this is why you want to have, what I call complete route combos, or route combos that have answers against every coverage. And the reason why is because, if they over adjust and they kind of switch stick there or whatever late in this play, this tight end is going to get open kind of in that seam area of the field. Now I've got to be a little bit better of a throw here, but we'll show it to you one more time. But essentially, you're just going to pass lead this tight end to the inside, and a lot of times you can actually throw this in a way that makes it very difficult for them to defend. So as you see, kind of clears there. See that little inside pass lead you can make right there. A lot of times, if you get that rat catch, that's going to be a big play for your offense. So it really kind of puts them in a position where there's not a lot of things they could realistically do. Like they can't really put a quarter there, can't really put a half there. So then you're going to get them back into basic coverage. So when you get them back into basic coverage, there's really a couple things that they're going to do. But because this play is so good with this flat route, because this flat route on the running back is such a good route here, a lot of times what you're going to see is a hard flat. So if you get a hard flat, that means they're kind of rolling the coverage over the top of the trip side or something like that. Then you're going to be in a really good spot because the tight end actually can clear out outside thirds, and it doesn't do it's okay against outside quarters, but you see how you can kind of throw this back shoulder like that? It's a great little throw to be able to make against zone coverage in this game. So let me just jump into a cover 3 here. I'm just going to flip it. But effectively, if they hard flat to stop your running back route, then you're going to be able to throw this. You're going to be able to throw this cheat motion. I can actually, let's just see. Once he turns his hips there, I got to put the tight end on a streak. If you don't put the tight end on a streak, as you see, you're not going to get as good of a clear out. So let me just put outside third, inside third on that side, and then I'll hard flat. But effectively, this puts them in a lot of conflict because some of the main coverages they want to run on the tight end side, not really going to be able to run those type of coverages due to a play like this. So you see, pass lead to the outside, you catch it. You see how it's hard for that defender to be able to actually make a play on the ball. And then cover 4 is going to do a little bit better of a job, depending a little bit on, kind of how they're shading. But generally speaking, if it's a cover 4 hard flat, you're going to get kind of the same behavior. But as you see, that quarter does a much, much better job of actually being able to defend the route. So as far as the rest of the reads on the play, if you get a shaded down cover 4 drop, which is a very popular coverage, very, very popular coverage for trips tight end, what you're going to want to realistically look for here is this in route on the deep in route on the outside trips receiver. So you see here, I might be able to sneak in that tight end. I'm looking at that drag. You see how that drag kind of keeps those yellows down, and then that in route late in the play. Because you have those two deep clear out routes, it's going to make that in route really get open nicely for your offense. And then as far as like the other option here, let's say that they don't like shade underneath or anything. This drag's gonna be actual, like it's just gonna be wide open for the taking, and you can hit that to easily manipulate the coverage that way. Now, another little factor, again, just want to run through the different options and things that they can do. Let's say that it's a curl flat on this right side. That means that curl flat will kind of back up a little bit more, and so you can just take that simple check down to your running back right there. But one of my favorite throwing lanes in this game is to hit this drag kind of right by the guard. So you're going to see here, this running back kind of clears the flat, the drag kind of throw right in that little window, and then you can turn up field and immediately get, 10 to 15 yards, break a tackle, and, who knows what's going to happen. As far as how this plays against man coverage, it has some good answers against man coverage. You also can catch people over adjusting with this auto motion. I have a couple other better options against man, but I do like this option against man coverage, right? Sometimes, as you saw right there, they bump, and when they bump, that tight end could be a big play over the top. Let me actually show that one more time. One of the best options against man coverage on this play is just the drag route. The drag route is money against man coverage in this year's game. And, you have these like clean clears, but as you see right there, if they bump like that and there's no safety help, and that happens a lot in cover zero, a lot with these cheap motion plays. You get these bumps. That could be something that's really a nice opening. And then the other thing is, again, you have your running back that is clearing out. So your running back is clearing out the flats. So if they're putting like a curl flat on the field, or they're putting something to help with, underneath crossers and things like that, the running back will typically clear those defenders out, and then you can just take your easy drag underneath. Now, let's say that you're, running, kind of using this play, and they don't really do that. So let's say you're getting like some pressure, a couple different ways in which we could do this, but it would effectively be something like this. You get like a send for pressure here, and then you get this guy, the user in the middle of the field or whatever. As you see, the man coverage is going to swap. So because of the routes that we're putting on the field, this man coverage is going to swap. So a lot of times what you can actually do here is when you just look out here, you just see that running back running wide open because it misaligns the man coverage because of the cheat motion. So anyway, this play just has a lot of answers against a variety of different coverages. It's a must-have play if you're running this formation. The setup of motion wide post is by far and away my favorite for any kind of man coverage or just horizontal spacing in general. So the way that I like to run this play, as far as how we're going to use this to manipulate man coverage, is all we're going to do with our combo here is we're just going to put a drag route on the middle trips receiver, and then we're going to put a return route on the outside trips receiver. So you see the play looks like this. Now, why do you like this against man coverage? I like this against man coverage, number one, because we're utilizing the cheat motion, which can really mess man coverage up a lot. You just kind of get man coverage chasing, and a lot of times it just gets them out of position, and it really opens up this tight end route. Like, especially if somebody's trying to adjust from zone to man or do hybrid coverages or things like that, you can really mess somebody up with their man coverage with this play. And then with the cheat motion. So the cheat motion is really more of almost like a, more of like a, I don't know, necessarily like a Trojan horse or like it essentially just like draws their attention. Like, oh, he's running the cheat motion wheel, so I got to adjust, do other things. And realistically, my whole purpose of this play is to hit this post route against man coverage. The post route being the best route on the play. And the reason why I like this post route so much against not only man coverage, but what's going to typically happen is a lot of people like to play man coverage against trips tight end. So because they like to play so much man coverage, I think this is a must-have play. And the other reason why I love this setup here is because if they mess up, or you basically force them to use the post. You completely give the post all of that field on that left side to be able to work. So, if your opponent is not using the post is going to be wide open. So typically they will use this post route. And so when they use the post route, they basically have to choose, are they going to guard the drag or the return? The running back is going to pull any kind of flat zone to him. And so you'll see this drag just get open right in here. A lot of times you can catch that drag upfield for easy gains against man coverage. It's also really good, in my opinion, because of how good this is against 2 men under. Now, we talk a little bit about 2 men under here. Basically this cheat motion can do a really good job of, clearing space, and then you can work that backside on the left-hand side there. So again, the whole point of the cheat motion is really almost like a bluff. It's just trying to get them chasing something, but really our main priority is to hit this tight end post. So if they bust a coverage, great, we'll hit it. But if not, we're going to take this drag all day long. We're going to take the return route all day long. And again, this is primarily for man coverage. So, if they were in like a cover one robber type of man coverage, give you something like this, again, they're just going to have a hard time because they're getting high. Their user is going to be high load in the middle of the field with this every single time. And then if you get them chasing like this right here, you get kind of a mismatch and they're in cover one. They're not having a disciplined safety help over the top. Sometimes this can just be money against man coverage. So it's why you love these cheap motion plays, because they get defenders chasing and you get kind of this speed burst with it. So I just think this is a very, very effective play to have against man coverage. As far as the rest of the combination here, I'll talk a little bit more about man here. So again, the running back is, let's say you get like a blitz or something. What's nice is any kind of cover zero blitz, you're going to get a swapping of the man coverage. And so what happens is the backside safety is actually manned up on the running back. So it's a great read to be able to make if you're getting any kind of mid blitz, you're just getting any kind of over aggressive man-to-man blitz. This really does a good job against that. And then if you guess wrong, let's say it's cover 4 hard flat or any kind of zone coverage here, you're still going to have some answers. So you have these underneath routes. You can hit that tight end before he gets to the deep zone. If they don't user the tight end will be open. If they do user the tight end, then normally your drag route will still be open underneath of the play. So you're not really hitting the tight end on the sideline. You're more so hitting him directly in the middle of the field, and you're really kind of isolating that middle of the field and creating a high-low that you can manipulate for easy gains, not only against man, but also against zone. And this is a phenomenal play against match coverage as well. The next setup of motion Y post, all we're going to do is we're just going to take the inside trips receiver and we're going to put him on a streak. Now, the purpose of this play is to get that nice isolation in the high-low, but it's also to take the switch stick ability of the left side away. They can't really switch stick to either of these inside quarter or deep defenders on the left side. So let's say you got like a standard, this is a pretty standard coverage here, with this cover 2 here to the right side, but they would have to switch stick, and it's a standard coverage, but it's not necessarily super great against this formation. And the other element of this is they would basically try to switch stick this route right here. So typically, let's just to illustrate, we're going to cross man this on the tight end, but you're going to basically see here, like, I'll just put him in an outside third. But essentially what's going to happen is if they switch stick the safety on the left side, then your streak will be a touchdown. So you want to have that, and that basically takes away that type of defense. They can't really switch stick that side. So if they're constantly wanting to switch stick to that left side, this is a great way to get them out of that and still get your high-low read. The other thing that I like about this, let's say you get like a cover 2, right? So if you get a cover 2, well, this seam streak is always going to be my first read. And what you'll see is a lot of times he can actually outrun the mid-read. Didn't do it right there for me very well. We do have some other plays that are going to be a little better against cover 2. But just understand, like, if they bust a coverage or, they don't actually have their matching mid-read on. A lot of people run cover 2 without a mid-read. You have this route. So it's just a really, really nice route situationally. Another kind of use case for this is against cover 3 cloud. Really good route against cover 3 cloud. What makes it so good against, whether it's a deep half or not. And that even includes, like, if this guy's in here, for example, but you just put a ton of stress on the deep defender on the left side. He has to cover the outside fade, and then he also has to cover this route. And so that's the route that you would realistically want to hit. Let me actually try to get a good example of this. But essentially, if you got like a cover 3 cloud, looks something like this, or whatever, typically what's going to happen is this seam streak will just kind of clear, and you'll see this wide open void that you can hit right in that little pocket. So just want you to know that, like, if they ever are stupid enough, right, to run cover 2 or cover 3 cloud to the trip side, this is a great way to counter that. The other thing is this return route, it kind of times together very well with that post route. And so when it comes back over the middle of the field, you have this high-low basically on a yellow because the streak pulls that yellow zone backwards. And so you're really going to work that return route. Makes it so that they have to commit to that return route to be able to stop it. And so when they commit to the return route to be able to stop it, guess what? We're going to throw our post route. So you see here, they commit there, and then I'm able to make the throw. I'm able to throw the ball to my post route over the top of the defense. Now, I like to keep the running back flat on the play. You don't have to necessarily do that. You could block the running back if you're getting pressured, but I do think having just a quick running back flat, really great route to have, just in case they fall asleep, they don't hard flat, whatever. Always have that in case they're not putting flats. Like I want to make them respect the flats on really both sides, and it's just a great, simple way to do it. But the other thing here is if you wait on this post, it's still going to get open really no matter what. So I just like the fact that you can't really switch stick this, which I think makes it really, really good. And then I want to show this cover 3 cloud thing one more time. So again, if they play any kind of cover 3 cloud, even if they don't shade their yellows down, so even if their yellows are on default, there's going to be this little void right here in the seam where you can hit this. And if you rack catch it and you get a good pass lead, it's going to be a touchdown. So just gives you really nice, clean answers against zone coverage. And then you're also still going to have your man-to-man beating capabilities with this play. So this play is really good against man, primarily because let's say they run that cover 1 style defense because, we want a yellow zone down here to help with the return route. We want to switch stick to this inside third to take this away, And so if they are running some kind of cover 1 robber, that might mean that they're not playing with deep protection over the top. And so if they're not playing with deep protection over the top, then, you gotta at least give this guy a shot to get over the top. So if you have a good receiver out there, a lot of times you can't really play press man in this game. Press man is, it's all right, but situationally, right, you have 2 routes going vertical that can take the top off the defense. Also really good for 2-man under, as you see in the middle of the field, because he's hard to press. In trips tight end flex, it's really hard to press everybody. You basically have to be in a dime type set. So, you might get it like this. You might get like this. But generally speaking, as you see, that inside guy is going to get matched up with a linebacker. And so it makes them hard you can't really run cover 2 man against that because if that guy's on a streak, it's just going to be a touchdown, especially in this game. Then you have the post route as well that they still have to guard. This next setup of motion Y post is one of my favorite horizontal passing concepts in this game. It's going to give you answers against every single coverage. It's an amazing red zone play, and it's going to give you answers against man-to-man. So I want to start out with man coverage. So the way that I like to run this play is I'm going to flat my middle trips receiver. I'm going to in route my outside trips receiver, and I'm going to slant my inside trips receiver. So as you see here, it's a very horizontal type of passing concept, and we're really attacking the underneath pockets of the defense. So our first read on this play is typically going to be the running back route, just to kind of look at their C. But then we're going to quickly get to that slant. And as you see, if they're putting 2 hard flats out there, pretty standard man coverage, or really any kind of man coverage, it's going to be hard for them to not give that up, right? You're going to have certain things. So they got to put a hook there for that. And then they kind of need a hook for the other route. So anywho, you're going to see now they're going to put that hook there for the slant. All I would really have to do in a real game is just wait for it to clear it. So as you see to the sideline, it gets open. So now I got to put like my user down there, and I got to have a curl flat. And so I'm starting to have to over adjust just to stop, a basic route here. And that's the whole point, right? And so now that I have to put more adjustments over there to defend that route, then if I'm, playing man coverage against this, that means that this tight end post has that whole side of the field to work. Really great route to give that much space to, right? Because it's almost always going to win. So that route is there for you against man-to-man. And then, now you kind of have to do things. Now you start to have to kind of get creative, but basically the user has to kind of take this tight end post. And so what that does practically is late in the play, you can hit this in route against man coverage. So as you kind of see, even if they're setting up defense for this play specifically, they basically just have to hope that the in route doesn't beat man coverage, because the in route is the only route that really is 50-50, I guess. Like the flat route will win normally, or not the flat route, the slant route will win normally, the post route will win normally. The in route is kind of that third route you kind of want to win. Pass laid down inside, a lot of times it does win. And as you see, I mean, it just does a great job. So they're not going to really realistically play a lot of man. I think you just have a lot of answers against different types of man coverage that they might do with this play. And, you know, 2 men under is really no different, as you see that post just fry the man coverage over the middle of the field. So you have answers against kind of those 2 main coverages that you're going to see from a man-to-man perspective. And then what I love is the answers you have against zone. So the whole purpose of this play is realistically to get like 5 to 10 yards, right? The post they have to use her though. So even against like a shaded down cover 4, because of this trips alignment, the slant will pull the hooks inside a step. And so you're going to look for this in route right in this pocket right here. It's wide open a lot. It's a very good, consistent throw that you can make. That was a hard flat. I'll show you this one is a curl flat. A seam flat will be just like a hard flat because it'll match the flat. But as you see, curl flat, hard flat, seam flat, it's all going to get open in that little window right there. That is such a good, quick throw. Very difficult to defend in zone. Very, very difficult. Now, if they want to try to defend you in a cover 2, the cover 2 is going to have a shot. But again, that hook curl is going to go super far to the inside. As you can see, I can kind of hit it right there. You can get a little bit more KOs if you were to do it like that. But generally speaking, if they want to run cover 2 against trips tight end on the trip side, they're asking for a lot of problems, but you still can hit this, as you see. I mean, if I hit it on time, and that's why that's one of my main reads on the play. Other thing is, if they want to run cover 2, that means that they're going to be rising. That cloud's going to go back far, so we can take that dump down right there. Again, the whole point of this play is that horizontal strain that we're able to get on the defense. It's a very, very good way to run this. So they basically have to shade down. They kind of have to be in a cover 2, which is not ideal for other reasons. But if these yellows are low, then what you're able to do here as well on the right side, let's say they hard flat. If I'm patient on this, I can hit that slant. I could typically hit it a little better than that. I don't know why that was a pretty poor throw there. But normally shaded down cover 2 or cover 4 hard flat, this slant will get open late on, and then your tight end post as well. So as you'll see here, kind of throw this through the zone. See, that's the animation we want. Kind of get that right in that little pocket. And then the other thing with cover 2, obviously if they use her, it might be a little bit different depending on how they use her. But generally speaking, they have to use her the in route. If they don't use her the in route, it'll come open late. And then you'll see here that my tight end, you don't necessarily have to high point it, but I would kind of pop it, pass it up, or kind of get it more middle of the field against cover 2. But with all that action in the middle here, the user's low enough, you can hit this and you see, I mean, this thing just exposes cover 2, right? The post route is super good. They have to respect that. So because they have to respect that, what they'll typically do is they'll man up. They'll actually match to that themselves. And then normally you see a send 4. You don't get a lot of send 3. You normally get a send 4. And so, and you don't normally get 3 yellow zones over the middle of the field. You normally get 2. So because of that, as you see here late in the play, this guy's wide open. I could have also playmakered him up, but it just gives you a ton of answers against zone horizontally. It's just a tough play to guard. It's also amazing in the red zone for this formation. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. For this next setup of motion wide post, we're going to be using this primarily for the running back route, as I do think the running back route is really good as a flat route on this play. But essentially what we're going to be doing with this play is using this to kind of flood the right side of the screen. And so it's a lesser attacked area in trips. It's something you need to be able to attack just so that you can consistently attack the cover 4 on that side, that outside quarter. So the best way to do that from this formation, and what's nice about trip side and flex, is with trip side in, this receiver can't go on a slot fade, but in trip side and flex, you could put him on a slot fade. He gets the slot hot route. So we're going to put him on a slot fade, just like this right here. We have this like quick flat route, which is great. And then on the back side of this, you can kind of do a couple different things. It just depends a little bit on what you ultimately want to do. But what I like to do is a simple just crosser on the inside trips receiver. I like to flat the middle trips receiver, and then I like to in route the outside trips receiver. The reason I like this combination is because it's a very simple combination. We high-low the right side, but we also get that high-low in the middle of the field. And against cover 4, you see here, like you get that nice pop pass there to the left. It's a great read to be able to make on that left-hand side. Now, what's also nice about this play is against any kind of cover 4 hard flat, cover 4 curl flat, either way, you see how clean that tight end clears out, and then they're going to have to switch it to the inside quarter, which could cause, honestly, a lot of issues. This is basically kind of a makeshift type of dagger or cross setup that I like out of this formation. Now, if they run like a curl flat, the other thing about that, though, is because he's on a slot fade, he'll kind of pull the curl flat back a little bit, so we could dump it down to the flat route if we wanted to on that side. The other thing about this play is, let's say we kind of mess the read up and maybe we're looking right, but we don't get it real quick. Then what we're able to do is get backside here. And as you see, we give that in route all that space to be able to work against zone. It can work across the entirety of the field against zone coverage. So I love that about this play. I think that it makes it a super simple play, but it also gives you consistent answers against coverage. And I just love that it's great against cover 4 because in this game, you need something like this to be able to attack this right side. It's really a big weakness of trip side in is there's really not a lot of great ways to high-low the right side. And I think that this is one of those ways. Now, the other thing about this play is it's going to do pretty decent against man coverage. Reason being, because the crosser is one of the better routes in the game against man coverage, in my opinion. So you got your slot fade, you got your crosser, and then you got your in route on the backside. Typically, your crosser or your in route will beat man coverage, depending a little bit on what type of man coverage you're facing, the type of shading that they're doing, things like that you can't really necessarily control. But you have a good play overall against man, as you see there. That crosser did a great job that time. We're able to just take what the defense gives us. So I like this play all in all. It's really more of a mix-in play. It's something I don't run this play a ton, but this play is really, really good. And even if they're hard flatting, what my favorite thing about the play is I can high-low the right side with the crosser and the flat, but then on the left side, I get this quick read that is almost always open. It's really hard for them to be able to consistently defend this route. That's why I like to have this play. Now, I want to give you a little variation of the play that I do think is really good, but I don't think it's like amazing. Like I said, it's more of a variation of the concept. So what I will do situationally or variationally is I'll do the crosser. I'll leave this return route because I already have it on the play. I'll have the slot fade, and then I'm actually going to take this guy on the left and put him on a super deep in route. So this is really good when they're starting to consistently put their hooks on 5 or play lower. I'll put him on an in route. I'm going to stem him up at least twice, maybe 3 times, but I want a deep in route, right, that gets over those yellows, because I want that return route and the in route are going to kind of run over the middle at the same time. So essentially here you're going to see super deep in route. You got the clear out, then I have that return route, and then I have that late in route coming over the middle. Super nice in a nice little spot that, kind of, again, really helps that I think pair with this return route. The return route's also good because you can also, as you see here, like snap throw it. You're still going to get that little pocket to be able to hit that return route. It just kind of changes the play slightly, but it's still kind of the same basic concept overall. It's essentially a cross field concept where we're crossing the routes from left to right and being able to high-low the defender on that backside. But all in all, it's a great play. And, oh, by the way, if you want to, you could put a post. If you want to, you could put a slant. You can do any of that stuff and still have success with this play because it's a very much so a concept that you can put other routes within, whether it's a crosser, a post, a deep in route, any of those things. It creates the same concept. But the biggest thing here, make sure you use that slot fade because that slot fade is going to do a really nice job for your offense of being able to clear out that outside quarter and open up the window for that high-low on the right side. For this setup of the play motion Y post, all you're going to do is take the running back and put him on a streak. Now, what this is going to do is going to do a really good job of kind of attacking the middle of the field. You're going to have kind of a triangular read, which is really good, but it's also still going to give you some answers against both man and zone coverages. So what I think is really good about this is you're keeping the cheat motion, so you're going to get this fast motion. And against cover 2 on this right side here, you're still going to have this kind of window to be able to hit this fade. It's a little bit tighter of a window, but assuming your running back actually runs his route, gets out on the break a little bit better, this is going to be pretty good against cover 2. The reason being is because the deep half will actually run to the running back in the middle of the field, and you can hit this right on the sideline for a possession catch. Now, let's say that they're playing, that cover two, that same style cover two, but they're shading underneath, which is very popular, right? A lot of people play 5-yard yellows in this game, or they shade those yellows underneath to play slants and underneath routes a little better. What you'll see here is it opens up. The thing I like about the cheat motion is the cheat motion really opens up for the running back. So it's really good against cover three cloud on this side. If we could make a good throw, that'd be awesome. Let me show you what I'm kind of getting at here. So, like, let's say they're playing cover three rotation like this, and they have this half here. This running back streak will clear the yellow, the hook curl, and then you'll have a window here. So you'll see kind of clears this, and then you have this little window where you can kind of hit it late in the play. So it's a nice little route because you can hit it both early and late. For example, here, if I run cover two and I want to hit this route early because the yellow zones drift back, you'll see here the yellows kind of drop back there, and I can hit that running back in that little kind of soft spot of the defense. So you got a lot of options in terms of how you're able, practically to be able to hit this running back route in a lot of pockets. Other thing is, let's say they play like a cover two hard flat or anything like that. You see here that this cheat motion is going to be a nice route for you to be able to hit just quick pop pass. Going to be hard for them to play cover two consistently on that right-hand side, but if they do, you have some answers for it. Really, typically, you're going to get just, I think cover four, honestly, but in terms of what people are going to do defensively. The other thing about this, though, is it does clear out like a curl flat. The tight end will take the hook curl inside, and then the outside guy will take that curl flat. So you'll see like a cover four hard flat, for example. This hook curl is put in conflict. It's what I'm getting at. A lot of times this is the user too. So the user is put in conflict. He has to choose between the post and the running back streak. A lot of times they will choose the post. But if they don't choose the post, you can just hit the post in that little window. And then you still have kind of the ultimate check down in this return route. So you still have this return route, which is going to give you answers against every coverage in the game as well. Because, let's just say, okay, I just want to pop him right in between those two defenders. Easy read right there. Going to be difficult for them to defend that. And then now, once you get them doing, man coverage and things like that, it just becomes a super easy game of, do they guard the return route or do they guard the post route? Like those are the two routes that are going to be money for you against man. As you see that tight end post, it just crucifies man coverage. You're not going to be able to play against this defense or against this offense and really do a great job in man-to-man. So, you really it's going to be hard. Man coverage honestly covers most of the play, but it doesn't cover the two power routes on the play, which are the return route and the post route. Both routes normally will win against man coverage. So you see the post just fry yet again. I mean, you just see, it's going to be hard for them to make a living playing you in straight up man. Typically what you're going to do is, and see, here's what the thing is like, well, what if they start cross manning, out of a zone look or something? Well, then the problem with that is it oftentimes leaves the running back wide open. So you see here, running back open, easy way to be able to attack the defense. So I just think the running back kind of gets in a really nice spot. And then if they're playing any kind of like shaded down yellows or anything like that, the user is going to basically snap down to the running back so you can hit that tight end in that little pocket right there. So just gives you good quality answers against a variety of coverages. For this setup of the play verticals, what we're going to be using this for is really our cover two killer. It's amazing against cover two. And there's not a whole lot you realistically have to do. But the way that I like to run this play is relatively simple here. All we're going to do is we're going to re-drag the tight end, just so that drag, we make sure that it goes as flat as possible. And then we're going to angle route the running back. So you see, this is kind of what the play looks like here. And against cover two, so a lot of people will mix in some cover two. If they ever run cover two and they leave the mid-read on the field, which is the best way to run cover two this year, what you're going to see is the mid-read will actually go defend the crosser, and this seam streak is going to crucify cover two. Like it's just an automatic one play touchdown every time they run cover two. Like if they want to run cover two, this is the play that you want to call. I'm going to show it to you one more time. Again, I'm not going to touch anything on the defensive side of the ball. You don't even necessarily need to put that running back on the Texas route. You just need that crosser and that seam streak and you see how that seam streak is just going to do a great job, right, of being able to attack cover two. So that is really important because we need to be able to take the top off the defense whenever they are running, a coverage like a cover two. Now, you might say, well, what if they do like a cover three cloud type defense? So let's say, we go to cover two here, but realistically, we're going to be kind of like trying to close the middle of the field. So we have that middle third rolling over. Typically, they'll take the mid read off the field. In that case, it doesn't really matter for our purposes. But if they were to do something like that, what you're going to see is this seam streak is so good because it's going to kind of like get into an area of the field where it can kind of be thrown against almost anything. So there's a bad example there. I'm going to try to get you a little better one. But it's essentially going to be something like this right here. And you always want to look at this seam streak really first on this play because you'll just see that, pass lead it to the inside and you see it gets in that little soft spot of the defense even when they're rolling the coverage over the top of it. So it's a really good way to be able to attack cover two. Really, regardless of how they're getting to the cover two, you're still going to have a lot of answers here. Now, what about this fade to the outside against cover two? You can throw this fade to the outside against cover two. I'll show you it's a little bit of a tricky kind of type of throw because you have to kind of wait on it. But basically, if you get this, you want to wait for him to kind of clear that cloud and kind of throw him in that hole shot right there. I would say another little way to run the play, this is an extra step, but it is helpful, is to fade him. Because if you get that outside release on that fade, honestly, it's a little better against cover two. Because now you see he's going to get that outside separation. It's harder for that deep half. It's actually harder for that deep half to be able to play both receivers. So might be a little better at defending this fade. But you see like cover two, see I can throw this over the top, just right over the top quick. Because the cover two, it's not rerouting the fade. Whereas the other fade, it does reroute. So that's just, I think, a really, really good thing to know is putting the stock fade here. If you can get this outside here, it's a great way to be able to attack cover two in a little bit of a different way. So I would suggest, if you have the patience to go ahead and put this fade out here because as you see, like once he gets on top of him, we can freeform him to the sideline and that half is going to struggle to play him. The other thing about this is when you do it like that, then the inside pass lead is much, much more open because the deep half has to go more to the sideline to be able to stop it. So anyway, just a little quick tip on that. And then I wanted to talk about cover two man. So cover two man, like I said, you won't get a ton of this, but if you do get this seam streak here, as you see, a lot of times you can actually pass lead him up into the inside and he will actually get enough separation to get over the top of the defender. Now, it is a little bit more of a dice roll thing, but you want to read it. And if the guy looks like he's got that kind of separation here, like right here, it doesn't really look like he does, but you can kind of, sometimes he'll get like a super win and you can throw it on that. So I just wanted to highlight that. Again, it's not something that, you have so many answers in this offense against man, against cover two man. You don't necessarily need this one, but there are some times where, you put this out here. A lot of times he can just kind of get a little bit of a step on the guy. But again, don't want to force anything, but is something that you could look for. Okay. Now, what about like basic zone, like cover 4, cover 3? Because cover 2 is not working right. So they're going to go to cover 3, cover 4. Against those, you're still looking at the seam streak. You can actually throw it before he gets to the deep zone. A lot of people, when they play, they're going to have this safety here because they're going to have their safeties on close and pinch. So if the safety's more in the middle of the field, it's actually worse because typically you'll see here. See, I can kind of throw this and possession catch it. I'm getting KO'd a little bit. It is a KO risk, but a lot of times, man, this throw will be there for you. Right when he kind of steps inside, you see there, you kind of get that dive down animation. The other thing here is if I hard flat, it's going to be open immediately. So this is why you always want this. This is always pretty much your first read. If you can kind of catch it in the seam, it makes it a lethal play against zone. It's very difficult to defend this in zone. Now, what I like about this play as far as man coverage, we're going to give this crosser the whole field to be able to work. So because of that, this is kind of your main route against man. A lot of times when he steps to the inside, he will beat the man coverage. right there. For whatever reason, he didn't. But a lot of times he will beat man coverage. And then your tight end and your running back are the other two options here. But a lot of times when he cuts, you see he gets a little bit of separation there. And this thing is a home run hitter if he gets that separation. So anyway, it's just a great route. And they have to chase it with their user typically. So let's say that they do that. So they chase the crosser with their user. Then normally your tight end or your running back will be the answer. So I'm looking left. Oh, I see man. Oh, they chase that. I get back to the back. And you see how good of a route that running back route is at being able to get separation against man. For the setup of the play PA shot crossers, the main purpose of this play is to try to attack any kind of cover 3 over the top or cover 4 on the right side. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to streak the inside trips receiver. We're going to drag the outside trips receiver. Go ahead and block the running back because you are going to want to have a little bit of additional pass protection. And then what I like to do with the tight end here is just put him on kind of 1 of 2 routes. You could either put him on a corner route or you could put him on a speed out and stem that speed out up to, 1 to 2 times. So you see it runs a little bit deeper in terms of depth. Now, the main purpose, as I said, is really to attack cover 3. So if they're running like a cover 3 like this, where they're having that cover 3 on the tight end side, the third will get pulled by this out route. The crosser will pull the middle third, and then this crosser, or I'm sorry, the streak will pull this middle third, and then you'll be able to hit this over the top. So you actually just create a true cover 3, but something like this, and then just run the play. I like the corner. I normally call the corner out, so I'm just gonna use the corner out. But basically, you see the corner out pull there, the crosser kind of get in this little void, and it just attacks that cover 3 in a really, really nice way, right? Really nice way on the sideline. Now, cover 4 a little trickier, but you still can attack it. So what you can do here is, again, just be a little bit more patient on the route, but this crosser will run across the field. So you'll see like right here, wait for him to kind of cross the face of that quarter. When he does that, it's a cover 4 beater and you're able to hit it in that pocket. So let me show that one more time and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the other elements of the play that I think are important. Now, when you put him on the corner route, you want to stem him down at least 1 time. So you don't want him to run the full corner route, okay? But anyway, cover 4 here. So you're going to see as long as you have some time in the pocket, when he crosses the face of that inside quarter, you see that this is a money play, kind of gets in that little area of the field. Very good play to be able to attack cover 4, cover 3. Now, what if you get cover 2? So if you get cover 2, it's a little interesting. And there are some things that are a little bit different about cover 2 than are about cover 3 and cover 4. So with cover 2, you see here, you can still hit this, but you want to hit it before he gets to the deep half defender. So the inside quarter, if it's an inside quarter, you want to wait for him to get there so that he crosses his face. But if it's cover 2, you want to hit this crosser before he gets to the safety. So you really want to throw it like right over the middle of the field, kind of right in this little pocket right here. And this can pop cover 2 as well. The mid read always goes to the streak, and so you have that little window to be able to hit. Now, what happens when they switch stick it? What happens when they user it? Because that is what we need to prepare for. So when they switch stick the route, when they user the route, when they whatever, right? The main thing you want to get to is this backside check down drag route. It's a very good route. It's going to get open right in that little pocket. That's where you want to hit it. And very simple, right? You want to hit your backside drag route. Now, your tight end corner route, in terms of situational, right? If they're shading down and they have a hard flat, which they probably will because of everything else in the offense, you can throw this, kind of outside, almost like back shoulder like against cover 3, cover 4. So if it's cover 4 or cover 3 hard flat, you can throw this. Now, if you want to put your running back on a route, my recommendation is put him on a swing, not a table route, a swing route. The reason being is the swing will pull the flat down more, and you'll see here that there's a much more open passing lane to hit that corner route in that soft spot of the cover 3 or the cover 4. So now, what if it's cover 4 or cover 3 cloud or cover 4, cover 3 curl flat? So if they're using curl flats, then you're going to see here that what I would do is just pass lead this swing route up, cut up field, and get 7 to 10 yards if they do something like that. Now, let's say it's man coverage. So if it's man coverage, it's actually fairly straightforward. It's really, you got a lot of answers. Your corner route, can do a good job of beating man. Your crossing route's going to do a great job of beating man, and your drag does a great job. So you got your corner route right here that you can throw on time against man coverage. You know, just kind of big bodying right there. You have your crossing route, which they basically have to user to defend that in man coverage. That route's going to be normally really, really effective for you, really efficient route for you against man. So you'll see here, just has a great cut, and it's going to do a great job of beating man coverage. They go user that route. Then, of course, you're going to dump it down to your drag, which is another one of those routes, man. It's just another great route against man coverage. So you have some nice answers against man coverage with this play. But ultimately, this is kind of a bomb type of play that you want to call whenever you know you're going to have some time in the pocket or they're not really blitzing you a lot. This is a really, really good play for that. And you just have a lot of answers in terms of how you want to attack it. And then the other thing with this is if you want to put the running back on a route, put him on a swing route. But against, you know, kind of cover 4, you see once he crosses the face, it's going to be a huge play for you against really any defense, but it's great against cover 4 and cover 3. The RPO Zone Alert Omaha is one of the best RPOs in all of Madden 26, and here's why. So what makes this really good, this out of Trips Flex, is you can hot route this play. So basically what you can do, you don't have to audible to it. You just come out in it. If you want to, you can audible to it if you want to. It doesn't matter. All you basically every route is every receiver is hot routable that is on a route. So the tight end, you can put him on any hot route. The inside trips receiver, you can put him on any hot route that you want. And so what you can do with this is put this inside trips receiver on a flat, put the tight end on really whatever you want. I like to put him on a streak. You can put him on a flat as well. And basically, you just look at these two flats, and one of them normally will get open. Normally, it's going to be this one. And you see that you get incredible blocking. It's very similar to the bunch tight end RPO, but it's a little bit better, in my opinion, just because you have better, blocks set up already for you. It's very difficult to stop this play. Like, I'm just going to run this against a couple random plays. But what's really cool about this is you can also situationally, like when they start to get really aggressive with hard flats and stuff like that, put this guy on a streak, and if the defense gives it to you, they give it to you. That's going to force them to pass commit. Also, if the guy's not open, guess what? We could just hand this off to the running back, and now we're in a really good running play out of this formation. Another thing that I love about this is the fact that I can attack both sides, so I can attack left and right flats. Makes it kind of just a pain to be able to defend this. This just gives you a lot of ways to attack the defense. As you see here, that was a cloud flat, but he's not able to animate. So the bottom line is this is a great little feature that you can have in this offense. And if you get man coverage, most people think, well, man coverage stops RPOs. That doesn't really stop this one. It doesn't stop the flat. They can't really man this up. They have to kind of drop zones over there, a lot of zones for that matter. And that's going to obviously open up a lot of the passing game as well. So anyway, I just think that this RPO is really, really, really good. There's a lot of ways to utilize it. The use cases are kind of endless. There's so many things you could do. Like you could do a drag and a flat. So if they switch stick over there to the left side, we just throw this drag right over the middle. You could just hand the ball straight off. You could put the tight end. I really like double flats just because it gives you kind of a quick answer on both sides. If you ever get blitzed or anything like that, the blitzers don't really react to the RPO. So the blitzers, you could take advantage of it that way. You'll see, this flat right here, really, really effective. It's going to be great against any kind of zone blitz. Right, if I was playing 3-3-5 odd, this is a great little play because you can attack both sides of it. So really, regardless of where the pressure comes from, we can attack with this play. You don't have to hot route either. If you like the way the bubble screen runs, bubble screen is a little bit better against just a basic zone. You can just run the basic bubble screen too. You don't have to hot route this. But ultimately, this is a really, really, really good play in the trips tight end flex, and I think it puts it into a category, right, as a top level offense, because now you have all the good passing from this, but you also now have the threat of the run. You have this kind of multifaceted approach within the offense, and then obviously you can audible around to a lot of other stuff. But ultimately, and then again, like you get man coverage, put a quick slant out here, right? Throw a quick little pop pass. Another thing you could do, keep the speed out. And the speed out a lot of times against man coverage is a great read, especially isolated against one-on-one man coverage. We just keep the speed out and we give ourselves an answer if they do run like an off coverage type of man, cover zero look. You have something like that. You could even put like a slot fade and throw like a lob, if you wanted to try that, right? But Anyway, I just think it's cool. You can hot route on this play. I think it makes it really, really good. And I think there's a lot of ways to run it. Like put him on a little seam streak, passing inside, click on, agate. A lot of times you can animate there and make that play. But the core strategy, in my opinion, put this flat out here. It's really hard for them to consistently be able to defend it when you put this guy on a flat because you have these blockers. And a lot of times they're just going to struggle. They're going to struggle at the end of the day. This is one of the best RPOs in all of Madden 26. Motion wide post is one of the best plays in the red zone in Madden 26. It gives you answers against pretty much everything they can possibly do against you. So let's go ahead and get into it. How do I like to set this play up? A couple different ways to set it up, honestly. But the way that I like the most is a simple, man, flat in route, slant route. This has been money for a long time. And what makes it so good is the fact that these hook curls, they don't get outside to be able to defend this in route. So your first read, it's your main read on the play. You're looking for this in route quick. And as you see against most zone coverages, whether it's curl flat, hard flat, seam flat, quarter flat, does not matter. Whatever kind of flat zone they have over there, you are going to be able to hit this quick every single time for a quick possession catch and fall down, and you're going to be in the end zone. So it's really hard to stop this. Really, really hard to stop this play. Now, if they want to run a cover 2 on you, you're going to see that this hook curl, it does go to the inside. So it's honestly kind of to a degree a trust throw. If you get any kind of zone coverage, it's ridiculously hard for zone coverage to defend this throw right here, right? Now, that right there is what can happen is if you do throw into a cover 2, you can get KO'd, okay? Typically, if you pass a down possession, catch it, you'll fall down before you get KO'd. But you can get KO'd. So you got to kind of be mindful of that. And that kind of leads us to the rest of the play and what makes it so good. What a lot of people do is they'll play cover 2, but they'll play hard flats. So when they put the hard flats there, it's going to allow you late in this play to kind of pass lead up this slant because that running back table is kind of pulling that cloud. The other thing is, let's say that we look out here and we're like, oh, it's a cover 2, but I notice they're not cloud flatting, right? Kind of same thing. I can still kind of throw this into a tight window. But the other thing is late in this play, I can hit this this little flat to the back. So if they are in cover 2, you'll see here kind of late in the play, right? You know, he kind of didn't quite go where I want him to go. He kind of will typically, go to the slant. Now, another thing that a lot of people like to do is they'll go cover 2 and they'll put 2 purples out here. So if they put 2 purples out here, then your tight end post is going to be money. Also, your, see how open that tight end post gets against 2 purples? Like it's really not a good idea to do that against this play. But there's really not a great way to stop this play, honestly. It's why it's been so good. It's why it's been a staple passing concept down here in the red zone for really as long as Next Gen Madden has been a thing. But as you see, you kind of throw this right through the yellows, and you just get this in a nice pocket to the tight end in the back corner of the end zone. What I think makes this play amazing is the fact that you have a sharp cutting post. And what makes that so powerful is now you have a lot of answers against man coverage. You have your slant route, but now you have your in route and your post route. See how it runs flat against man's sharp post? You're going to be able to attack man coverage a lot better with this post than you will be with like a basic tight end in route or tight end crosser. See right there, cover 2 man just fries the man coverage, and it gives you a nice answer. And then let's say, they're running this, but they use the tight end route, then you're going to obviously be able to look to your slant. So if they're really kind of selling out on that tight end post, you see that slant does a really, really good job of being able to attack. So what if they use the tight end post? So that would basically mean that this defender is going to be going to the tight end, okay? And so what you'll see here is both hook curls will disappear basically, and they're going to stay flat. So what normally happens, and this is even in the case of the 2 curl flats, is late in the play, the in route will get open over the middle, provided we have enough time. But right there, that's the throw for the in route. That's what makes the in route really, really good. Now they have to drop 8 people into coverage. And so in this game, when you drop 8 people in coverage, you now open yourself up for the quarterback scramble. So what you're going to see here is not only is the tight end going to be available, but we can kind of like potentially scramble in with our quarterback, depending a little bit on, how they guard it. Again, the big thing to remember here is they're going to be in cover 2, but they're going to have this one defender on the tight end. So this is kind of representing their user defender. to be covering this tight end here. And so because of that, you can playmaker this guy up, and then you see how the Red Sea just parts because they have to cover that in route with that 3-rec, and then the scramble is going to be wide open. So all in all, this play just gives you a lot of answers against a variety of different coverages. It's very, very good against kind of the standard, really any kind of zone. And you actually have a lot of man-to-man answers now with this play. It's a very hard play to stop, and it's a play you need to be calling in the red zone. So I like to call the play verticals in the red zone situationally. And what I think makes it really, really good is it gives you good answers against some of the main coverages that you're going to see, especially with your main red zone combo being that slant post type of combination. So the way that I like to run this play, there's a couple different ways that you can run it, honestly. But the way that I really like to run this play is really optimized for attacking this type of coverage with the 2 hard flats and the 2 purples out of a cover 2, with the user basically planning to user the tight end. So what we're going to do from a setup perspective here is actually basically nothing. The only thing that I really want you to do is put the running back on a Texas route. It's the only thing that really matters. Everything else is honestly up to you how you want to do this, but the main read is going to be the triangle receiver. Now, you could either leave this verticals route because it kind of slants inside, which is what makes it really good. It kind of slants inside in a nice way, which I'll try to show a little better variation of this. But basically, this verticals route, you'll see, kind of gets right there in that pocket. So that's one way you can do it. The other way that you could do it, and again, this is mainly designed for when they're getting over adjusting and they're trying to user the tight end post, right? Because now the tight end's on a drag underneath of it. Now, the other way we can run the play is this right here. We're going to take the middle trips receiver and we're going to put him on a curl, and we're going to make sure that he runs to the back of the end zone. So we're going to stem him up one time. The outside trips receiver, honestly, put him on whatever you want. You could put him on an out route. You could put him on a fade. You could leave him on what he's on. You could put him on a comeback route as well. Any of those. But what you'll see here is that curl route sits back. When those yellows kind of play that picket fence over the goal line, that curl really sits back in a nice spot where it's going to be hard to cover that. Now, the problem is the streak doesn't necessarily do that. So you'll see here, if I run this, a lot of times, actually, no, he did a good job. He did a good job of actually sitting there. But he doesn't really go to the back of the end zone like I would want him to. So by calling this play, what we're really, like I said, looking to do is we have this out route to pull the flats. We have the curl stem to the back of the end zone to get over the top of the hooks. And then we have this tight end underneath. So that tight end underneath sucks a lot of attention. And we have that verticals crosser. That verticals crosser kind of runs similar to the post. It hits the back of the end zone and then crosses. So it gets in that nice little pocket where if the user is chasing this tight end underneath of the middle of the field, then, this crosser, you're going to see this nice little window where we could, just throw this crosser really all the way across the field based on, how they're setting their coverage up. So it's one of my favorite ways to attack. And then if you do get like a man coverage look, this is why I like to put the out route here. The out route will pull the flats, and then your running back or your tight end are going to be answers against man coverage. Your crosser also will beat man coverage, of course. So you have 3 real answers against man. It's going to be hard to use all 3 of them, which is what makes it good. And then if you get, like, let's say you guess wrong and they play just a basic cover 4. So let's say I guess wrong and they play just a basic, cover 4 drop or something like that. Well, typically what will happen is that tight end can be thrown in a nice pocket. Let's see if I can get a better example. Like I said, if you guess wrong, you always want to have something. So if I guess wrong, 2 things. Number 1, this crosser. But number 2, you normally will have this curl or you'll have this out. So you kind of see here, running back, wide open, over the middle. Kind of depends on how they user it. But this is a great little mix-up play that I like to go to down here in the red zone. The main thing ultimately that we're looking for is this cover 2. The yellow zones just shade down so much. And so you see this seam just wide open in the trip. So it's really, really good if they're doing any kind of cover 2, especially, if they're putting those additional flats out there to try to deter some of our slant post combinations. this is a great secondary option down in the red zone. The trip setting offense is just insane, especially the trip setting flex with this motion wide post. It just gives you answers against literally every single coverage. It's a very simple offense to run. You can combine it well with other plays, other schemes, but ultimately this formation, it just is a lethal formation. A lot of people have been sleeping on it this year. A lot of people really have kind of gone away from this, but I do think that this formation, especially with some of the glitchy stuff that you can do to kind of change the math in the RPO game, it really does come back as one of the better offenses in this year's game. And so just want to thank you for checking this out. And if you want to win more games in Madden 26, you want to get full offensive and defensive schemes that are going to win you more games, go ahead and join our school community. It's only $10, and it gets you access to literally every single thing that I know about Madden, college football, all of our ebooks for both games. And if you guys want to sign up for that site, the link is going to be down in the description below.